Hey, what's going on, everybody? This your boy Ziploc. Today I'm gonna talk about the undead, the creatures in the night, vampires. Now, vampires are, well known. They're part of a very popular folktale creature. Now, if you look at my background, I'm more of a werewolf fan, but I do love vampires too. I love vampires. The reason I want to talk about vampires is because I feel that they are a bit, what's the word? They're overexposed. I mean, look, when I went to go see Inglourious Bastards, they had a preview to the new movie called Daybreakers. I'm like, man, another vampire series. And then, they got all these other things coming out. But before I really get into it, I just wanted to say that vampires are one of my favorite types of foreplay. I love vampire foreplay. And like I said, I'm more of a werewolf fan, but I'm going to talk about vampires today because it's, like I said, it's overexposed, and most of them aren't even what I consider real vampires. Now, a vampire to me is, they're vicious, they are, they're bloodthirsty, and that's what they are. They're blood drinkers. They love blood. And now they seem to be kind of watering down the vampires. Like, I'm gonna get into the series I really do not like, and I probably knew this was coming, but Twilight. Now, in Twilight, my friend told me about it. I saw a commercial before it came out a couple years back, and I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. I never heard of this before because I didn't know about the books before the movie came out, and I'm like, okay, this looks cool. Then a friend of mine told me about it. He said, these vampires really are vampires. I'm like, well, how can that be? He told me that in the books, they actually are not, they are vegetarians. And I'm like, what? You can't be a vampire and be a vegetarian. He's like, they only feed off animals. Okay. I'm like, alright, that already turned me off. Then he said, they sparkle. I'm like, sparkle in the sunlight. I'm like, that's not a vampire. See, vampires. Now, I do know of vampires. Some of my favorites that can walk in the daytime, daywalkers, like Blade, because he's a half breed. And there's a couple of other ancient vampires who are able to walk in the daylight because they're ancient and they are part of the first line of vampires. In the weaker generation of vampires, they usually have trouble with sunlight and stuff like that. But yeah, the higher classmen vampires, or the more powerful ones, the A-listers, I should say, yeah, they can walk in the daylight. And we talk vampires, you got to talk about Dracula. Now, yes, I do love Dracula. I am a fan of Dracula, but he really isn't the most powerful vampire I know of. There are plenty more that can, kick his ass. One of my favorites is, of course, from the anime series called Hellsing. And his name is Alucard, which is Dracula spelled backwards. But yeah, he's one of my favorites. He's not a daywalker, but he's a good example of what a vampire is. It's a vicious, badass, I don't take no mercy type of guy. He's really kick-ass. I really like Hellsing, the series. I prefer the OVA series and the manga. The anime was okay, but the OVA, what they're doing now with the animation is a lot better. Because I don't like in the anime, they tried to tone him down, and not really tone him down. They made him too girlyish, I should say. Another one of my favorite vampires is from a video game series, actually, or a visual novel called Melty Blood, or Tsukihime. and there's a vampire in there called Arcuate. She's a kick. She can walk in the daylight. You know, she's an ancient vampire. She is very powerful. You know, she has like this as you can see in the picture, she has like this like mode. She's like in a regular mode, but then when she gets really pissed off, you know, you can see her eyes start to bulge and her teeth, her fangs start to show, and that's they call her War Arcuate when she's in that mode. She's a really kick-ass vampire. Another vampire series I love, and if you own the comic books of this series, I got a lot of respect for you. 30 Days of Night. I love 30 Days of Night. I love the movie. That was great how they did the movie, but the comics are just it's a mini series. If you go to your comic book store, you know, I definitely recommend it. I love that series, and the artwork is just great. I know a lot of people say it's not their cup of tea, but I love it. Another comic book series that I'm reading right now by Image called Impaler. Another comic book series I really recommend you pick up. Really, it's just a great series, great art. If you get a chance, pick it up and read it. You know, another series I used to watch on TV back in the day was Buffy and Angel. I used to love that series, both of them. And Buffy has a comic book out too by Dark Horse. So, you know, get a chance. You know, after you look at, I'm going back and I'm gonna collect the series on DVD. I'm gonna go back and look at it. But if you get the chance, you definitely should pick that up. I definitely recommend that. Buffy, the TV series and the comic books. But yeah, another one of my favorites is a comic book character which I've mentioned is Blade, and that's by Marvel and Anita Blake, it was a book at first, but now it's a comic book series. But yeah, those are just some of my favorite vampire series. But I do feel that they're coming a little bit overexposed, because you got series like on HBO. I actually like this show called True Blood. It's a pretty good show. I like the themes in it. They actually, it's what would happen if vampires were in our society, and I like that take on it. It's pretty good HBO series. It started out as a book though, so if you want to kind of get ahead of the series, just go read the books. They're at Amazon.com if you can't find them at your bookstore. They got Vampire Diaries coming out on the WB, and then they got this, like I said earlier, they got Daybreaker coming out. So yeah, vampires are a little bit overexposed, but I do love vampires. And you know, I'm not really gonna get too much into it, but I just want to address that thing that yeah, I am a vampire fan, but I do feel they are a little bit overexposed right now, especially with movies and TV shows, and you know, in anime too. It's really overexposed in anime. I mean, every anime that comes out is like, man, it's a vampire series. But I'm more of a werewolf fan, and I do enjoy my vampire series. And like I said, you know, pick up those comic books that I talked about, because they are really good. And you guys take it easy. And I'm going to talk about werewolves. Alright, you guys take it easy. I'm out.